Hey everybody, welcome back to my carving shed here in Virginia. This is lesson 5 of the skull staining series. Probably the most exciting or fun one for me to teach, and to cover a bunch of different things in this, including just the recipes, the actual recipes for walnut stains, berries such as blueberries, coffee stains, dyes, and stuff like that. So I'll walk you through those, and then I'm going to include the conclusion of the course, and that covers a bunch of examples and kind of shows you the process of which I stain. So this lesson kind of brings everything together. Hope you enjoy. If you've not seen the first 4 lessons, link in the description of this video, as well as I will include all the links to the products that I used in this course in the link of this video. All right, let's go. Alrighty, in this lesson we are going to cover a few different skull staining recipes for you to try yourself. Some of these are all natural, so the materials you're going to pick out from nature itself, and then some of them are processed materials that you can pick up, and I'll show you exactly how to apply those to skull staining. Using walnuts as a stain has been around for a very long time, and applying it to something like a skull actually turns out really nice. It gives it a really nice kind of antique old look to the skull, gives it a nice dark color. And the walnuts I just harvest in the fall. They'll fall off the trees, they'll be green, but I'll just pick them up, store them over the winter, and they will dry out, and then you can use them for the staining. So the process is relatively simple. You're just going to take your walnut husk and crush them up a bit, then put them into a boiling pot of water. You're going to boil them for 15 to 30 minutes or so, just until you get a really nice dark solution. I specifically put mine in a mesh bag. That way the different bits of the husk doesn't get into the skull when you add the skull to the solution. And it's just easier to pull out all those husks at one time in the end, and that leaves you with a nice clean solution. Once the solution is done cooking, turn your burner off and let the solution sit for maybe 10 minutes before you add your skull. Again, you're not going to want to add your skull into a pot of boiling water that could potentially damage the skull. I like to keep my skulls in a mesh bag. Again, that prevents little bits of debris from getting into the skull, which will save you some time later when you clean the skull, and it just keeps all the parts in one place. And how long you keep that skull in the solution really depends on how dark or light you want your stain to be. I will put them in there from anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes to overnight, just depending on how dark I want that stain. And then once the skull is as dark as you want, just take it out of the solution, rinse it down to get any extra stain, loose stain off of there, and then let it dry. And the result is a very awesome dark brown or light brown, depending on how you like it, antique kind of look to the bone. The remaining solution can be saved. Simply put it in a container and then add a few teaspoons of rubbing alcohol. That way it does not go bad over time. And then the next time you need to stain a skull with some walnut stain, simply heat it back up and then start the process over again. So for this example, I am using blueberries, but this kind of applies to most berries in general. So blueberries, cherries, blackberries. You're going to follow the same process to do any type of berry or fruit type of stain. I used approximately 2 cups of blueberries for about a gallon of water. I cooked them for about 30 minutes. Again, I put them in a mesh bag. It just makes things so much easier to clean up and keeps debris out of the skull when you put it in the solution. I let the solution cool for, again, about 10 minutes, and then I add my skull. I had this one in there for approximately 30 minutes. I have put them in overnight with blueberries. It creates a very dark, almost black stain. And just a heads up, blueberries especially will stain your teeth. So if you do not want them stained, make sure you take the teeth out beforehand or coat them with some super glue. Once you take the skull out of the solution, rinse it off with cold water, and then proceed to do the color fixative, as I explained earlier in the lessons. This will help the color remain brighter. Again, like I said, type of things like berries, any type of stain that's going to have a natural color to it can fade over time. So doing the fixative process is really going to help you maintain that color over time. Similar to the walnut stain, you can save the remaining solution that you've just made with the blueberries or any type of berry. Again, just remember to add a few teaspoons of rubbing alcohol so that your solution doesn't spoil over time. Yes, believe it or not, coffee grounds can be actually a very good option for staining skulls. It can give it a really nice brown color, and the grade of color, the darkness or the lightness of the brown really depends on the actual coffee grounds that you're using. So if you're using a lighter roast, it's going to create a lighter color. If you're using a darker roast, it's going to create a darker color. Simply brew up a pot of coffee. I put approximately a cup of coffee grounds into about a gallon of water and cooked it for roughly 30 minutes. Add your skull into the solution. In this case, I'm really going to say some type of mesh bag is really going to help keep those coffee grinds from getting all into the crevices of the skull, which later on, again, is going to be really hard to clean out. Depending on how dark the coffee is that you're using, I would probably suggest leaving it overnight. Again, let the solution cool for a few minutes before you add the skull, but just put the top on, leave it overnight, roughly 8 hours, and then take the skull out and let it dry. At this point, you can add a clear coat just as a protective coating for the skull. Leather dyes are kind of a undiscovered secret for skull carving. It is a penetrating stain, meaning it is going to penetrate into the skull very deep, even though you're just applying it with, say, like a brush. But it gives such nice colors. They actually come in many different colors you would like, not just brown. In this example, I'm using a blue leather stain. For the leather stain, because it is a penetrating stain, you are going to want to make sure that there are no clear coats on the skull whatsoever, so that the stain can penetrate evenly into the skull. You may need to let the skull dry completely and then assess the color. It will lighten up slightly, so you can add as many coats on there as you would like to get the desired darkness or lightness of that particular color. And then I would suggest adding a UV protective clear coat to the skull. And lastly, I did want to cover acrylic paints as a stain. You might not think an acrylic is going to act like a stain, but it does work. So if you're going to use it as a surface stain, you're going to want to add a clear coat over the skull first. For this example, I had a skull that I carved a design into and then added the acrylic over top. Now there is a clear coat, so that for this particular example with the carving, I'm just highlighting the carving, and it's just going to fill in the crevices and the cracks, and it will kind of act like a stain. Now you can use this with really most paints in this method, but acrylic, it wipes off really easily. Again, I'm going to use like a nail polish remover to wipe off the excess acrylic paint. Now, what you can do as well is you can take the acrylic paint, dilute it with water, and then add it onto a skull that has no clear coat whatsoever. This way, the color is going to soak into the bone and not so much stay on the surface. So in this respect, it will act more like a stain. Then you can wipe off any excess acrylic that might be on top of the skull. Using an acrylic paint does give you more options as far as colors goes. So obviously there's a wide range of colors you can use. I do personally try to keep away from using paints as much as possible in my skull carvings, just because it tends to take away from the texture of the bone. But with an acrylic, you can dilute it down to where it will soak into the bone and thus act more like a stain. Okay, everybody, so what I'm going to do for this last section of the course is I'm going to do kind of a slideshow of skulls I have carved and stained, and give just a short kind of rundown of exactly the stains that I used and the process at which I stained those skulls. That way you can really take all the information that you've learned in this course and kind of see some visual examples of these different techniques and tricks that I've used in my own skull carving. Thank you for taking this course. I really hope the information is beneficial to you and that you learned a lot. And like I said, I am really excited to see how you take this information and apply it to your own skull art and skull carving. Do feel free to send me a message again if you have any questions whatsoever, or just to show me what you're working on. I really do appreciate that. And don't forget to follow me on YouTube, where I upload videos regularly on skull carving and skull art and all different things on mounting and displaying skulls. Alrighty everyone, so that concludes the skull staining course. If you again did not see the first videos, link in the description of this video, and again links to all the different products that I use, like the leather dyes, the wood stains and stuff like that, in the description of this video. Any questions you have, comment below, hit me up on Instagram. I would love to chat and see what you're up to. Thanks again for watching.